5 minutes. It's at episode 194. We're talking about Arizona. We're talking about Eric. We're talking about snakes. Will we talk about other things? Maybe. Maybe not.
Talk about whatever we talk about.
Yeah, hell yeah. First, I forgot to present. Holy shit. Uh-oh. I just lost monetization by cursing too soon in the video. This is the map for ARPE. We have 3 sponsors at this show. Let's zoom in. Great Family Snakes down here. Very important. They'll have multi-gene recessive combo ball pythons. Very cool. We got Spellhead Xotics with Herp and Harpins over here. He will have... He mentioned something about mouth hugs. I don't remember the exact criteria for receiving those, so check him out. But he'll have red line science stuff, hog noses, some ball pythons over here. And then over here, we have Bravo Zulu ball pythons. And she made a special jam. I want to learn more about that. And ball pythons, including like multi-head puzzle, multi-head clown. What else was there? I forget. Her booze resin art. Very cool. It looks like it's going to be fun. Are you jealous you're not there?
I am. There's
jealous. A giant bird section. Is that good?
Yeah,
giant.
Sure. I mean, bird cages, LA. All right. Is there birds or just bird cages?
I think it's birds.
Okay.
This is the pet show in Nashville. Looks like there's a couple spots left. Anybody wants to check it out? This is this weekend. Also, everybody go. The other sponsors, what are they doing? I already forgot. Andrew, he will be at the Cascadia. God, I'm like sucking ass right now. Cascadia Reptile Expo in Bremerton on the 17th and 18th, and he had this 10th clutch drop. Very cool. You can check him out for ball pythons, rodents, gopher cocoa, other fun stuff. Justin doesn't talk to me. Know what he's doing. So he's doing a lot of overtime. It's what I understand to be true, but he's a clown python specialist ball python breeder in the Pacific Northwest. You can check him out at Stoneage Pythons on Instagram or Morph Market. And who's left? Chris of BS Reptilia. He is, still looking for a chipper vendor. So you can go to cocodude.com, and he has lots of fun stuff coming. T-positive Argentine boas, longicatas, colurids, some ball pythons, maybe some scrubs. Very cool. I did it. I did enough.
Is that everybody?
God, I hope so. There's a lot of them. It's hard to keep track.
You did a great job.
Thank you. I never got any better at it. It's been years.
I think at first it was like scripted somewhat.
Yeah, but now like it's no fun to just like ad read. Really, that's boring.
You should do like SNL style skits.
I should do interpretive dances or haikus. I don't know.
Haikus might be a better idea than interpretive dance.
Yeah. Quirky's here. Sammy's here. Randy's here. Randy. Whitney's here. Jennifer's here. Travis is here. A bunch of people. What's up, Zips? Okay. How's your day going?
Fantastic. It's
you don't Friday. Have to lie to me. There's only us two.
No,
here.
Remember we said we're going to try to stay not depressing for 5 minutes. We're still at the 5th minute.
Oh my God, let's start a timer. You think I'm joking? I'm not. See if we can make it.
Oh, wait.
We'll start a stopwatch.
Yeah.
Who knows when it will happen.
So anyways, I'm great. It's been a great day. And, the day job was great. And now I'm on this awesome podcast. And really having just a fantastic day.
I love your fake positivity.
It's not fake. It's manufactured.
Synthetic.
It's
Yeah,
AI.
it sounds
It's
cool.
AI productivity.
We got an echo.
Is it me?
All of a sudden, I have an echo. So weird. Sorry, everybody.
How about now?
Mic check.
Mic check. 1, 2, 1, 2.
I don't hear anymore.
What the hell?
Okay. All right. Can we first talk about, and this might be already controversial, but I was thinking about it. Who is Eric's ideal customer?
Somebody that says, "Hey, I'm interested in that snake," and follows it up with a payment.
So is it that vague, or do you think like that person is a kind of person? Is it like another breeder? Is it, or you don't care who it is? It could be anybody as long as like they're
honestly, it doesn't really matter, because like I like selling to established breeders because I'm confident that my animals are going to somebody who's going to use them and they're going into good hands and will be kept well.
Mhm.
Don't always have that vibe with some pet people at shows and stuff like that, right?
Mhm.
But at the same time, there's a value to getting new people into the hobby, and like even if only 1 out of every 10 snakes brings somebody new actually into the hobby where they wind up getting multiple animals, then you're still building the community. So it doesn't, like, there is no ideal customer. It's just every situation's different.
Do you think if you had like do you picture in your mind the kinds of customers there are, and do you think your marketing equally attracts all the kinds of customers that could be your ideal customer?
I think my ideal customer is changing over time, so it's a matter of adapting your marketing strategy as it goes, right? I mean, as you start to produce higher end animals, you have to market yourself more that way. And I found that I try and produce less and less kind of fodder, and trying to move more of that stuff more quickly than I was in the past, instead of holding it on to it for shows and stuff like that. And right now I have really low inventory for sale, except for the fact that I'm downsizing some projects. But like actual production, I have very little. I know I've only had 2 clutches hatched so far this year, but I have a whole bunch coming. So it's just a matter of, I think you definitely have to adjust your strategy based on what you're producing and who you're trying to appeal to.
Now, sometimes having a diaspora of species, like this is over here and it comes back, and then I'm like, I may be confusing my own customers and who I am, because when they walk up to the table, they're like, the ones that maybe wanted something on there don't even know it's there, because they're not like, they don't see the signals of their people in the like banner or whatever, because there's like vibes that different people want from a setup. And then I'm like, what if I was 5 different kinds of people, like a deli cup table and a plant, and they were actually like separate, distinct things? They would better attract the right customers for that particular item. How do I solve this problem?
I like having a variety, because I think if you don't, people glance at your table, they see what you have on the whole, and if that's not something they're looking for, they don't even pause. Their step does not even hesitate. They just keep on walking at shows, whereas if you have enough variety on your table that they have to, well, I don't want to miss something I might actually be interested in, like you're getting their attention, and you're at least getting them to stop and pause at your table and maybe potentially ask a question. And it's a starting point. So personally, I like to have variety when I can. It's not always easy though. Like I have a lot of species that are still up and coming and not really producing yet, so it's still mostly balls all the time.
Yeah, sometimes I like, or like the other choice would be, if you wanted to present yourself at that show like a high-end ball python breeder, because you thought that would look good at that show because the market's there for that, you just do that there. And then when you go to like a smaller local show where they just want pets or whatever. Anyway, then you bring the variety there.
Correct.
And then you sort of pivot what you're doing wherever you are based on who you think the clientele is probability wise. Because sometimes people don't even know what it is on your table, and so they don't care anyway. They just
Right.
want a ball
Right.
python baby.
Right.
So
And I think there's a lot of, even like, there comes down the question of, like, if you have multiple species or if you have a variety of projects, do you group them all together, or do you spread them out and mix stuff up so that people can't just look at one section and say, oh, they don't have what I want? They have to literally look through the
that's the
whole,
hunted.
look through your whole, or heaven forbid, say, hey, do you have this? But talking is a lost art. So
Have you noticed that other vendors, when they do the walk by real fast, but side eye, quick glance, see what you have, maybe they're checking their prices, but maybe they're kind of looking, that they're walking even faster recently? They're all really trying to not see something they want at someone else's table. Like, it's even more intense. There's less sort of the post-show Sunday loitering around for me. Have you noticed that?
I've noticed that too. I think there was, even at the last show, I think it was a lot more targeted buying. People looked at your table and, like, they knew, oh, this is somewhere I want to stop, or they didn't, right? I mean, not everybody, right? But there was a lot more of it than usual.
Yeah, I usually, like, I do sell a lot of snakes to other vendors most shows because I usually have something they don't have species wise. But I don't, obviously, if they didn't make enough money. Obviously. So it's just been like, I just feel like I haven't gotten as much vendor appreciation recently. Like this spring, even though sales have been fine this spring at shows,
Right.
the vendors are very strict personally.
Yeah, and there's some, like, there's some challenges where, like, the vendors that have an interactive experience at their tables have a huge advantage. They always have a crowd, right? Whether it's a hognose vendor that's letting everybody hold hognose, or a manus vendor that's letting everybody hold manuses, or stuff like that. Like, they always have a crowd. There's always people, and they seem to do really well. I see them making a lot of transactions because of that. But at the same time, I'm not necessarily willing to do that. People come to me all show long, can I hold an animal? I'm like, sure, if you're looking to buy it.
I've run a sacrificial lamb as like a test. That's what
I've done that, but it doesn't help sell the animal that they want.
Right. It doesn't, like, if you don't let them hold whatever they want willy-nilly really easily, they're less likely to impulse buy the one that they're holding. If there's just a sacrificial lamb, that's okay, but it doesn't necessarily really drive the sales of the rest of them, in my experience. And the sacrificial lamb is obviously, sacrificed. Just kidding. Sort of. Not really. Purple Church says he's seen people doing little hand holding on their banners for species awareness, and they say what they produce in there and since when. But what if you're always producing something different and you only make 5 of a weird lizard? You bring it to 2 shows and then you sell out.
I get new different stuff so frequently that I would have to get a new banner once a year.
That's why I was talking to Nick about, like, a digital banner. And then you could, like, edit it and it would flash, like, different things. And it's sort of like a menu at wherever.
I've even thought about doing, like, a touchscreen panel where not only can people physically look at your animals you have on display, but they can almost, like, integrate it with Husbandry Pro and have them be able to scroll through the animals that you have available. Maybe you don't have everything with you, right? And they can still look at the full inventory of what you have and see information about the animals without having to scan QR codes, whatever. But it's a lot of maintenance to maintain. So
a system like that would be easier and make more sense if you did not bring any animals.
Correct. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you intentionally are like, I'm not bringing any animals. I'm going to show you. You can.
Right.
I'm going to have whatever iPads that are locked down to a screen, and you can get the vibe. And so it's
Or
literally
picture
like
of a laptop. It's just like you can't actually touch it. You can't actually see it, but we have it.
yeah. I just don't. I think this is like sort of goes back to the root of the hypothetical problem of a reptile show, where it is trying to be many things at once, and maybe isn't always doing this correct service to both all the things it could be doing. You know what I mean? Like it's like needs to introduce people to a hobby. It needs to be a place for high-end things to sell, rare things to sell, people just to sell animals in general, people to also get supplies, people to meet up, learn. I don't know. It's doing a lot of functions, but they're sometimes they're in conflict with each other.
Right. I think the other challenge is like it's good to have good branding and good marketing and put up a good display and all that stuff. And like I get lots of compliments on my setup, but does it help move animals? I don't think so. I see people with, the deli cups and no banners and no table runners or no branding. They don't even have business cards, and they still sell just fine. It's really you're looking for this conjunction of like the right customer for the right animal at the right time, and just hoping everything meets up.
I do think people who self-identify as somebody internal to a specific hobby, like a ball python person who believes that they are a future ball python breeder, will gravitate towards ball python breeder type tables more with like acrylic and a nice background and stuff. But I think the normal human being, meat popsicle, that comes in the door, which is the majority of the people, they do not care at all.
Yeah. The other thing that I've done the last couple shows, and I found it a little bit interesting, and like I was talking to a friend of mine because I sold several animals out of my displays the first day, and I had a whole bunch of deli cups with other animals on my table. And I'm like, hey, you think I should move these into displays or just keep them in the delis, right? They're like, no, man, keep them in the delis, especially the low end stuff, because it makes, for whatever reason, the animals seem more attainable. And I've found that to be kind of true, because I kind of sell about equal the amount of animals out of displays versus delis. Like, people gravitate towards those delis. I think they expect the stuff in the displays to be out of reach or something like that, and they kind of gravitate towards, oh, look, here's some in delis, maybe these are cheaper,
Right, even if they're the same price, same snakes.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know if that's good or bad, or it just is. I think it just is. Because we've habituated to that being the way that it is. I've seen $1,000 snakes in delis that are loose
Absolutely.
on the table. So like very expensive snakes, nice snakes can be in delis too. It's just
Absolutely.
a psychological thing. Do you think you should do less acrylics and more delis for certain kinds of
shows? I've done this the last 2 shows. I've taken not all of my displays and taken more delis, just to kind of balance out the table a little bit. And I felt like some of the animals were more appropriately placed in delis, right? Whether they were lower end or they just weren't, they were too big or whatever, right? For whatever reason, they worked better in delis. And I have no problem leaving a display at home and taking more delis, like, whatever works.
Yeah, sometimes delis are in many ways easier, because like if it got like truly dirty, just throw it away. If someone takes a massive dump in your acrylic display, you can't just toss it. You're gonna have to sort of squeeze out the corners or whatever. Do they gravitate towards delis because they feel like they can touch it rather than having to ask to see a snake in a display? Ask Whitney.
Maybe. They definitely can I look at this? Can I pick it up? I'm like, yeah, go ahead. So something that constantly puzzles me is people that feel like they need to ask permission to take a picture of a snake.
Yeah, I don't know.
They do, like it's like 100 times a show. What it's like.
Yeah, I get asked that too. I'm like, yeah, he doesn't have agency or consent. He is a minor, but it's fine. Whatever. Go ahead. It's fine. And I always like tag me, and they're like, I never get tagged. I was like, if
oh
you
no,
posted
never,
somewhere. Yeah.
ever.
So they're
In
just
fact,
like sending it to their friends or something.
I hardly ever get IG followers even from shows, right? Like,
oh yeah,
take
no.
a card,
Really.
they scan the QR codes. Do they follow? No.
Every once in a great while, like every 6,000 people door, you'll get one. Even if you gave out 50 cards.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or 100 cards or whatever.
Right. I just paid $17 for one follower.
I've thought about not having cards anymore, but I also thought about not handing them out unless they're buying it, like keeping them behind. And then I'm like, well, whatever, doesn't matter.
I put the cards out. I don't have a problem with that as like in a marketing expense. I do keep the stickers.
Yeah, I don't give out stickers.
I give stickers to people who buy animals. If there's a kid who looks like they're really enjoying themselves and having a great day, I have a soft spot for that, and I'll give a sticker to maybe a handful of kids every show. But my first show ever that I ever vended, I made the mistake of thinking, oh, I'm just going to put the stickers out on the corner here, and I'm just going to let people free take one, right? And by the end of the show, I was down like 800 stickers, and my stickers were all over the floor through the whole expo.
Yeah, and like you could definitely get in trouble.
Yeah,
even though it wasn't you who stuck it to the bathroom.
Yeah, and I'm like,
stall
like
that you didn't even go in.
$400 for the stickers, man. Like, no.
Yeah, I don't even bring them anymore to shows. They're like a shipment only thing.
Okay.
I don't know. I sell stickers now, so why would I give you free stickers?
That's true. That's true. I noticed from your last show setup, you've got quite the conglomeration of knickknacks now.
The knickknacks have taken over.
I was like, does she have reptiles?
Yeah. Well, it's part of my like, I don't know, come to Jesus moment. Like it almost doesn't matter what I do. How many delis versus acrylics versus whatever. I know how many snakes I'll sell. That number's fixed. I could bring way more snakes, and I might sell the number might edge up a little bit.
Right.
But there's only so many people who want a snake each time we go to a show.
Right.
And the number goes up if there's less vendors. Basically, is the change, not if I bring way more snakes. If the vendor and so, but you know what? I can change. The people who aren't actually there to buy snakes and are having fun, and they want a little treat. Just a little treat, a little doodad to mark their time.
You got the doodads cornered.
So yeah, I rebooked Denver.
Set up now.
0 consequences for me if they don't have to feed it. They don't have to take care of it.
That's true.
They don't have to. I don't have to receive an email later on that it died, and then I have to feel bad about it. It's a little knick-knack, paddywhack.
Sticker. I can't get the back off. Can you tell me how often
they just figure it out by themselves?
That's amazing. Pet stickers.
They know what to do with the sticker intuitively. They've been trained, but the
kids don't.
Yeah, and I'm sure a lot of people are like, well, why don't you just do that? It's because the margins are different on a snake. Like, if you could sell a snake for $500, that's a way bigger margin, right?
Depending on how long you had it.
Yes, if you had it, and then if you bought it for $3,000 first.
Who would do that? who would lose their ass on a snake and then sell it and be happy to get 20% of what they paid for it?
Nobody. That was a
No,
very hypothetical
I would never.
scenario.
No. Every
So
animal sold in the last 12 months.
sorry. Did that stop the clock, or was that
It
too
might have. It
too
might have.
joyful?
It was lighthearted, so I'm not sure it counts.
I
It
don't think it
wasn't total
counts yet.
doomsday. Yeah.
No. And I mean, like, I still want to be a person who'd basically, in some ways, it's kind of, I don't know, embarrassing is maybe not the right word, but maybe it is, like, to have all that stuff. But who cares? I don't know.
I mean, if
Who
you're
cares?
making money, if you're not running on a loss over the weekend,
No, I
that's
never
great.
do now because there's always a little knick-knack
Right.
margin.
Right. If you can pay for your tables with the knickknacks and hopefully sell a few animals to make quote unquote profit, that's great. Profit is a myth. Let's be real.
Well, the other thing is, like, let's say because I can sometimes like run an end cap now by myself
Mhm.
because of that stuff.
Right.
But would I want to deli up or acrylic up an end cap's worth of snakes?
I've soloed an end caps worth of snakes or animals in general, not even all snakes, and it's not
Harder.
easy. It's crazy.
And like the other thing I noticed, if a knick-knack sale is less mentally taxing on you, because you don't have to
Yeah.
explain anything, right? So
Right.
I
They're just
can
like, hey,
do
I want this.
more transactions per
Right.
hour of
Right.
knickknacks, paddywhacks, because they're just like, whatever, I would like to buy this now. I'm like, okay, excellent. I'll
And
run
they're
your
not
card.
trying to negotiate the price. It's just
Right.
it
I
is
mean,
what it is.
sometimes they do, and I'm just like, nah. It's like fixed margins here, buddy. You want to buy a snake? Talk about that. So like it's a cleaner transaction, and I've done like wood is a very clean transaction. There's like, I just want wood.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, there you go. Give me some money. And they're like, okay. So I don't know if I could run a full end cap worth of snakes and
You could.
do all those transactions.
You could. Then at the end of the weekend, you'd pack them all up and take them home.
Every single one.
Every last one of them.
Like I've done it both. Like I've done it at the same show, in like a different amount of snakes, less stuff, more snakes, more stuff, cheaper snakes, more expensive snakes, to see if you could like fix the show.
Mm-hmm.
The amount of
It
snakes
always
is the
comes
thing
out
that's
about
the
the
same.
same. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I definitely have found that like it doesn't matter if I bring 20 snakes or if I bring 50 snakes, I still kind of sell the same amount of snakes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think it could be different if, like, you know how sometimes like there's a run that show on bells or something, and you like sensed in your heart that if you had a display of bells, you may be able to sell 10 bells into that room because no one else had them at that
Right.
show. But you don't have 10 bells, so it like doesn't matter. You just have whatever the byproduct you have at the time, and at that show you normally sell 10 of those price points or whatever.
Right.
And it's just the
Right.
same as always.
And even if I had 10 bells, I wouldn't pull them all out at once. I put 2 out and say, these are my last 2.
Like if I had more bananagrams at the OKC show me this spring, I would have sold more. But I'd already sold them all last, just like cheap banana combos. Because I had people want to buy them, be like, if you don't buy now, somebody's going to buy them, I can tell you. And they came back and already sold out from under them. So like I could have sold more at that show, hypothetically, but
It's crazy to me that, you know, we've said for a long time that bananas and bells, it's the the meat and potatoes of shows, right? Like
Mhm.
at this point, you could sell a bell or a banana, anything, for more than a clown. What happened?
And a
Or a
pied.
pied. Yeah.
Mhm. Which is funny. Like pied should not have fallen off the way that it did, but it did. So,
I'm
like, it
not
is
even
still
sure what
pretty
happened.
technically or whatever, but
Yeah.
it's you know,
They've
cheaper than a
overall
banana.
they've lost a lot of appeal even for the general public for some reason. Like they just
Yeah.
you don't see as many people asking about them, wanting them. Maybe there's too plentiful now. I don't know.
Mhm. I had a girl, woman, lady I had a low white pied
Mm-hmm.
female. She was like, when this transaction happened or this interaction happened, she was, I don't know, maybe 400 grams, maybe a little big. You know, they become disgusting after a while.
You're right.
But
Right.
she was like, ew, a low white pied. I don't want that. And it was $150 at that point. And I was like, oh, I
love
guess
low
I'm
white pies.
mispriced. I know.
They're my favorite pies. Hello.
So I still have that snake to this day. And she's been to multiple shows, and
Mhm.
she probably should be $100, is my assumption, based on seeing thousands of people who did not want her and
Right.
being on Morph
Right.
Market where nobody
Right.
wants her. So, are we depressed yet? I think that counted. Let's check our
We're still
timer.
positive. We're still good. We're still happy. Look at that.
Okay.
27 minutes. We have so far surpassed our 5-minute expectations.
We're doing great, actually. Everyone should be. I don't know. I don't know if we've accomplished anything. All right, let's talk about Arizona.
Okay.
How many reptile shows are in Arizona? And what do you think like the culture is now around keeping in the Arizona reptile show local market pet store vibe? What go for
So
that.
the show landscape has changed a lot over the last 12 months. We went from having one show in Phoenix twice a year
Mm-hmm.
and one in Tucson once a year to now we have that one, the Mesa show twice a year. That's in Mesa. It's the Phoenix Reptile Expo. That's the main one and the biggest one. We have a new show that started that one of the local shops is putting on, and it had its first run in March, and he's going to be doing that show twice a year. We have Troy's show that's coming at the end of October, and we still have the Tucson show. So we've gone from we've doubled the amount of shows, and there's still conversations about maybe another one in Tucson and maybe one up in northern Arizona. So I think at some point you do hit a threshold where you're oversaturating a market with shows, and so
You do have kind of a big state, though. Do you think people drive from?
We do. This is the problem with Phoenix is whereas you have a lot of cities where you go to Chicago, people will drive all over Chicago, and it takes 3 hours to get from one end of the city to the other end of the city when there's traffic, and they don't think twice about it. You know, they want to go to a Blackhawks game. They're gonna drive 2 hours, and that's fine. They want to get a job, and it's 2.5 hours away. They don't care. In Phoenix, if you have to drive somewhere and it's 5 miles away, that's too far.
Is it? I feel like in Texas, they're like, oh yeah, just 5 hours up the road. They cross a quarter of the state.
Like if you have a show on the east side, like with the one we had in March was on the west side. There's so many people like, I've never been to a reptile show. I'm like, yo, they've been here all along. Like it's literally like half an hour away with traffic. It's crazy.
Do you think the marketing is getting better or something? They just literally don't want to do it.
No, they just really don't want to drive. I mean, people here, most people won't drive across town for a job. They want something that's close to home, right?
Well, your cars are thermal nuclear hot in the summertime.
Well, this is true. So driving
it's dangerous to be out exposed to the elements.
Yeah, you got to worry about those random haboobs, you know.
Oh no. Randy said Bell's Bananas, GHI Mojaves, and Pie 200 or 300 all day long. Can't sell a clown for peanuts. Maybe where you are, but GHI Mojave combos don't sell good for me, nor do pies. But Bells and Bananas, sure.
Well, why are you trying to exchange snakes for peanuts? Maybe that's your problem.
Yes, exactly. Way too many shows. And then Jennifer said that was too depressing. So she called it, but we need judges. Pretty soon, shows in Arizona will be like ball pythons, way too many. Can't confirm Dallas is a local show from San Antonio. Yeah, Texas people are crazy. They're like, yeah, it's still a little jaunt in the car, 5 hours away.
So, I mean, we'll see how the increase in shows affects the local community and whether it increases the popularity of the reptile market or not. But like the other piece of it that I don't know that a lot of people that aren't doing shops think about, and I have a couple different friends who run shops, is the reptile shows are okay for shops, but they lose business before and after a show because people know the show is coming and they hold off on buying animals from those shops until the show is over, or because they want to check out the show. And so, when you have one every month, every other month, all of a sudden people are constantly waiting for shows, and the shops are seeing decreased revenue. And the shops are the heart and soul of the reptile community in every single city. They can't survive off of just selling feeders. They have to move just like your table. The knickknacks help keep the lights on, but in order to make the money, you've got to sell the animals. And it's the same way for the shops, right? The supplies and the feeders, sure, they help keep the lights on, but the margins aren't great there. It's the animals where they're able to make their profit, and so too many shows can detract from that. So it's a balancing act, and so we'll see how this all unfolds, and how it affects the overall market. It could be great, it could not be. I don't know yet. It's still, we haven't even had our first ARP. We've only had the Glendale show once, so we'll see.
Do you think people will drive from California to an Arizona show of any kind for some reason ever?
I don't. So I think like none of the Arizona shows really attract a lot of out-of-state traffic at this point, right? Like the Cali shows, right? You get people from all over in those shows, right? And you get vendors from all over. The Arizona shows, you've got a couple out-of-state vendors, a couple from Cali, whatever, but like mostly it's local vendors and local people attending that show. So I don't know if it's a lack of big names, like the Ed and Emily's and the the Wilbanks and the big names that attract the Canovas and whatever. Those names attract people from all walks of life, and we don't have those vendors at the shows in Arizona. I think the closest thing that we have to that, other than box stores, is like JMG. Definitely a popular guy. Definitely lots of people at his table. I'm right across from him. I see lots of people at his table all the time, and I see my table empty. But I think there's the national level appeal is not quite there at this point in a lot of those shows. We'll see what Troy brings and how that works differently with ARP. But
yeah, it's I don't know. I think if you get enough people from national locations to come to Troy's show in Scottsdale, people could come from California just to visit the show, to meet someone from the kind of middle of the country, East Coast, that drove there to vend in person, hypothetically.
Scottsdale also is no stranger to attracting audiences from a larger perspective, right? Because you've got the PGA Tour there. You've got lots of resorts. It's very much a vacation destination for a lot of people. And so you hear Scottsdale, and there's more people who know what Scottsdale is than know what Tempe, Mesa, Glendale, all the other suburbs are, right? Everybody lives in Scottsdale. So the location alone could attract kind of more of that demographic, but again, we'll find out after the first one and see how it goes.
Randy says, at least the shows are far enough apart in location that it shouldn't affect the other shows.
You would think so. Some people disagree.
I don't know. It's hard because like you're gonna want them all shows everywhere to capitalism battle to the death or whatever, right? Like whichever one wins. But it feels like it takes forever for them to decide to win or not win. You know what I mean? Like it's like I think the vendors are part of what drags that process out because they have maybe like brand loyalty or they just like the promoter or they like that building. But some of these shows I'm like, why didn't they fail yet? And it's because like the vendor's still there because that's the real customer for the promoter.
Right.
Is the vendor. They're not.
Yeah.
Their customer isn't really the person walking in the door. And
I mean, it's kind of both, right? From a different perspective, because you've got the vendors who are actually the heart and soul of the show, because without it, nobody's selling anything. And then but as far as a financial perspective, the gates, the promoter's best friend, right? I mean, it's really their reward for doing a good job as a promoter. Right.
But if they don't do a good job getting people in the door that want to spend money on something, just something,
everybody suffered.
Right. Then the vendor should hypothetically punish the promoter by not going back to that show again.
Yep.
But that doesn't seem to be the current trend. There's a lot of people just like, I'll just keep going.
I think so. I can't speak for all markets because I know that there's a lot of shows, like especially in the Midwest and in the South, where you've got a lot of different. You've got the herp shows, you got the show me shows and stuff, and there's shows like every other weekend in suburbs 2 miles apart from each other, right? But like here, it's not necessarily like that, and so every show has a wait list. And so
you have to keep your
vendors
spot.
aren't real inclined to give up their spots because they know if they do, they're back at the end of the wait list if they want to come back.
That's sort of how it was in Washington, where it felt like there was just like a couple shows and you couldn't conveniently drive to a different show necessarily somewhere else or whatever.
Right.
I don't think that's good either.
I don't think it is either because, to your point, when people feel pressured to stay in the show just because they don't want to lose their spot, they're less likely to give honest feedback, right? They're less likely to, speak with their dollars or speak with, their business.
Yeah, we got to figure out how to make it so that people feel comfortable selling online again or can sell online again or something. How do we do that? I don't even know.
I mean, I have one answer, but I'm not saying it.
Because, like people, meat popsicles, want to buy stuff online. I just think that people who are currently interested in buying snakes don't even know they can buy snakes online. That current crowd.
No, I have people all the time. People ask about the breeding, and they're like, "You ship snakes? You can do that?" And they don't realize that like it's possible to get an animal that somebody has in New York to your house in California, and it's really not difficult.
That's why they're at the reptile show. If they knew that, they wouldn't even really want to pick between the 50 bananas that are there.
That creates kind of a dilemma because, like, when you're talking to people at shows, like, there's a few times I bring up, stuff like Morph Market or whatever, right? And like, because I want to get people involved in the community, but at the same time, you're trying to sell animals and you're telling them, oh, go look on Morph Market because you got a bigger variety. It will be dirt cheap if you surf the auctions. And you're almost ousting yourself business,
It was more easier to have a altruistic promotion of sales platforms during the pandemic time, because you'd be like, whatever, I'll
Well,
sell out
when
of
you
everything
couldn't
in 6
you couldn't keep a
weeks
snake?
anyway.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter if you want to buy it from me today; it'll sell out before this weekend anyway.
Right.
Yeah. 5150 RCT
That's Elazar.
Salazar. Oh, it is. Oh yeah,
Elazar.
Elazar. Salazar
He-
Slytherin. Anyway,
Elazar.
sorry.
He builds cages. He builds PVC.
No, he was on. I remember.
Yeah,
I know
and he
you would
does all this. Yep.
like to vent every weekend. LOL. Unfortunately for me, I need time to build. I don't think anybody should really be vending every weekend. To be honest. But I feel like at some of my local shows, there are no local vendors anymore. Just people in the circuit
Mhm.
that do all of those things, which to me shows you that the inventory they sell of whatever species and stuff and cages or whatever is just like a universal product that's at the right
Right.
price point, that it works at even the worst shows or lower traffic shows. And then it's not really even serving the local breeders anymore of whatever species,
Right.
because it's
Yeah.
all like out of state vendors in that
I've
circuit.
noticed that too with a lot of like the circuit style shows. Like some of those vendors are just there at every single one. They just travel with the show, and I think there's arguable stances on whether or not that's healthy for the local community or not.
Hmm. Have you thought about doing shows in Utah or?
I have. So I've thought about doing. Well, there's not a lot of shows in Utah, but Colorado, Texas. I have never heard of a show in New Mexico. If there is one, I don't know. I think New Mexico is just a giant void between Arizona and Texas.
It's an attractive void, so it's fine.
I definitely love the Cali shows. So I am going to try and branch out more and kind of get some more regional, but further away than I have been going shows.
Mhm.
Just to kind of branch out a little bit and get a wider audience and maybe not always stay local. So
yeah, I like it a lot actually, because if you're selling knick-knack, paddywhacks, and snakes, the kinds of things you're selling through the year are relatively the same. I mean, new clutches could hatch, new species could hatch, but for the most part, you use the same male on 4 females, and so you have the same looks of babies. I don't want to take the same snakes, the same knickknacks to the same market 3 times a year, really.
Correct.
You'll see them at the end of the 3rd time that year. They're like, oh yeah, I bought 10 things from you already. Like,
right. No, and I straight up know that there's some animal. I'm running low on them, thankfully, at this point, because I've managed to move a lot of low end stuff. But there was animals that I had taken to 4 shows in a row locally, and it's like they
don't want it.
And the people who are walking because you have your regulars at these shows who you recognize, who you interact with, who maybe bought from you a couple shows ago, and you know who they are, and you can have a meaningful conversation. And they look, and you know that they're looking at your stuff, and they're like, "Oh, it's almost the same stuff as last time."
Yeah, it's kind of it's not depressing. What is it? I don't know.
It can't be depressing because then we got to stop the timer.
Yeah, it's not depressing. It's just it's a business sort of reality that you don't get to order 1,000 SKUs of a new colorway of ball python. You have to make it, and it takes about 9 months or whatever from start to finish. And if you run out of this colorway, you don't get any more. And so you're fielding the inventory that isn't like a hot seller because you've already sold it. So you have to field it into a different market and see if it appeals to a totally different set of people.
Any other business, whether it's cars or retail or whatever, where the stuff that doesn't move has to get resold to somebody else. It has to get wholesaled. It has to get liquidated. It goes on a clearance rack, whatever. It's some way, shape, or form. You have to move the old product to make way for the new product that you've hopefully tailored to your audience a little bit better, or the current trends and demands.
Right, because it once you go more and more other places, whole cities have different cultures of what appeals to their eyeballs for some reason
Right. Right.
in person, and I'm like, okay, like great. It's just like different tastes or whatever, and probably has to do with like the ecosystem of other sellers around them, how they've like
Mhm.
trained those people's palates or whatever. And that's something I don't think you really recognize until you vend everywhere.
Right. Right.
uh, Purple Church is asking, are you vending next month at Pomona?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Looking forward to it.
What's the taste palette in Pomona?
Diverse. It's a little bit of everything.
Well, good.
That's Cali. That's Cali though. So that's, I mean, Cali, like, because I think there is a thing for like some communities where you can have one or two breeders that are well established and have big production and sell a lot locally that can
Mm-hmm.
actually influence the entire community as to what people are producing because
Mm-hmm.
they're selling a lot of those animals, and so then more people, so then you get to a show with local breeders and it's like, hey, look, we all have similar stuff, cool.
Yeah.
Whereas in Cali, the population is so diverse, the people are so diverse, the tastes are so diverse, and the vendors are so diverse that like everything has a fair chance there, like to
That's
sell,
good.
because it's just, and the attendance is just outrageous. So
Good.
yeah,
Good.
you
You know
should
that
come to you should come to Pomona this time.
oh
You were
my
supposed to
god.
come last time and you said
I
no.
want to every time because it sounds right up my alley. I'm gonna be honest. Like more up my alley than many things in this
And you
earth.
can even go browse the fish building and the bird building.
And get conveyor belt sushi or
Yeah,
whatever. Go to Japantown. I'll do anything. Fuck.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it is interesting. I've heard that from multiple people where like if the person independently got into ball pythons and then went to a local show, there was accidentally a ball python cartel created on a local yokel that was a sort of volume breeder that
Mm-hmm.
basically influenced all these satellite baby breeders, and they all have almost
Absolutely.
the same thing.
Yep.
And they're all just like working together, and so like if you're an outside ball python breeder, you could do good if you have something different, but then like they're all mostly just buying from the main sort of source of ball pythons in the area and then
Yep.
selling it to pet people. So you're like outside of
Right.
that, they won't come buy from you.
Or selling them back to each other. Like Randy may or may not have an animal that I bought from him that he bought back from me as an adult.
That's incestuous. No, a lot of that is fine. I don't know. You know how like a gene will get stuck in a region of the country, a ball python gene,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
and it just sort of farts around that region shows a lot, and it doesn't really like nobody cares online, but it's just like
But it can be really
blackhead.
popular in that locale, right?
Yeah, like lace in the
Yeah.
Northeast or blackhead in. Alex, I don't know what you're doing. We just need to leave.
Or Jaguar nowhere.
Bye.
Bye, Alex.
You want to say hi?
How much minutes?
Who knows? It could be hours. All right, goodbye. Go eat some ice cream or something. All right, close the door. I asked him very nicely earlier. I was like, can you not come in here? He came in, closed the door quietly, crawled like I didn't see him crawl into the office.
He was in stealth mode. It's fine.
Well, I don't know what his goal was. What was he going to do? Like, communicate? Quietly? When he's trying to hide from me in the room. I don't know. Anyway, I don't think we've been depressed yet, so that's pretty good.
Yeah, no, we're doing all right. We're doing all right.
Yeah, I think all of these things I did not realize as a baby breeder in any way.
No, not even kind of. I bought so many animals from local breeders when I got in. And now, like, it's a lot of friends, right? But I don't buy a lot of local animals because I'm looking for very specific things. I'm looking for, something that fits my project exactly right. And so the amount of stuff I buy locally is few and far between. Whereas, I used to not be able to walk out of a local show without a stack of animals in my hand.
And in some ways that's okay, but you would have to know, as a baby breeder, a way to pivot most of those animals to something that's unique from all the people you bought from, because they're all A, ahead of you,
Right.
but also like
Right.
B, they're making better versions of all that already.
Right. Yeah. Because they were ahead of you to begin with. Yeah.
Yeah. I will one of these days when I'm ready.
You keep saying that.
When I'm ready, only.
You realize you only live so long, right?
Well, the goal for me is to do way less of my local yokel shows and just be like, whatever. I'll just fly somewhere and have fun. What about that? Not vend. Just go. Because I feel like it.
Randy wants to know if he should do El Paso.
I haven't heard about it since it stopped and then restarted.
They reached out asking him to vend. I told him that's a bad sign.
Yeah, because it was bad to begin with. Like the first time it existed. Odessa is much better, and I don't know why. In terms of like vendor to attendee ratios, that just naturally happens. That's all I got.
6 vendors. I mean, you'd have a captive audience.
Well, I think that show circuit, people aren't good at prepaying in general. What about that theory? Like they decide they want to go like 3 days before and they pay then.
Right.
They do have terms on there now, but I don't that will not tell you how many people will be there, because miraculously 30 more will show up 2 days before.
Probably because they give tables away for free just to make sure they can have the show.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It could be good. Like El Paso isn't a small city. It's just about marketing, really, right?
I mean, it's almost 1 million people, and I mean more than that if you consider the outlying areas. So
all you need is 2,000 to have an okay show if the vendor count's not insane.
Yeah. 6.
Yeah, I did a show with 800 person door, and because it was near my house, I didn't have a hotel. Like I was like, this is great.
800. Was that
800 person door? But I made, I think, 1,400, but I didn't have a hotel.
Yeah.
And the tables were free because she knew it was going to be small. I was like,
wow, 3 tables is nice. That's
3
cool.
tables, no hotel, 1,400.
I mean, that's nice because as soon as you make your first $1, you're in the black, right?
Yeah. I was like, let's do more of these. Like, they don't need to be huge. And I sold more animals than I have at a bigger show because there were just less vendors. And like as a percentage of the total sales, it was less stuff, more animals, because there weren't that many animals there.
RBC and tell them to adopt the free table model.
Please? Because she was going to make her money off of the door.
Right.
And she had a way to get the little venue cheap. It was in a mall, actually. So, like, you could rent a little space in a mall for events. Okay. It was in a mall, so it wasn't expensive. It was obviously free to park. It was near food. Let's do
got all the necessities built in. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, there's bathrooms. There was a bathroom even in the little, like, I don't know, old EB Games or whatever that we were in. That's what I feel it was in my heart. No, the walls were white, not yellow, but that's how I thought it was. I think more like micro shows like that would be good, because then you're like, there's so low consequence. Whatever. As long as it's not like 2 people come through the door, you throw a couple of $100 at Facebook, Instagram ads. YOLO, let's see what happens. So 'Cause I think like shows that are super structured, they have all the supplies you ever need, every species, whatever. They're good, but then it's like you really need a 5,000 plus person door.
Right.
And
Right.
then and that's hard, you know.
Yep. Yeah. So the Mesa show we just had.
Did it have a taco
So
truck?
no, they don't have any food trucks. They have a concession stand inside. But
I like food truck model shows.
the gate at the show we just had was outrageous. It was so there's normally on Saturday morning there's usually a line, right? You know, a couple few hundred people, right? For the first time they did VIP hour on Saturday and Sunday, which a decent amount of people showed up. I guess they were selling those tickets exclusively at Triple L. But so it got some people in the door early, which was fine, except for some of the vendors didn't know about it, so they were still setting up. But the line to get in on Saturday, the show started at 10. That's the actual general public admission. By 1 o'clock, there were still like 250, 300 people in line.
Just to get in the first time?
Just to get in, dude. Like it was there was at one point I think around 11 they had to stop letting people in because the building was full. Capacity. Yeah.
What?
The promoter said it was the best gate that they'd had in 16 years.
What?
And listen, the Sunday attendance wasn't bad either. It was also very good, but there was also far more people walking around with animals in their hands, like way more, and leaving with a stack of animals in their hands, you know? So I don't know if it was tax money or whatever. I mean, the economy definitely hasn't recovered, but some people had money from somewhere. And so that was good. I mean, from what I heard from a lot of the vendors, a lot of people were happy. They were successful and did well. So
yeah, so if the vendor number is controlled and the door goes up, you could bring more snakes to sell. Like as a percentage, clearly.
Yeah.
But if like the vendor number scales with the door, I don't sell more snakes. So I'm always like very sensitive to how that promoter handles what's going on. You know, and if I walk in, I'm like, this fucker's overvended. I can fucking tell.
Right.
We're in buck nowhere, and there's 140 vendors here.
Yeah. No, the number of vendors at that Mesa show is locked. It's been the same constant number for years.
Good.
So they don't change that, but it's normally hard to walk down those aisles. This time, there were people. It was gridlocked. You had a captive audience in front of your table because people couldn't move.
Well, what did the fire marshal think about that?
I think
is he around?
He told them to quit letting people in.
All right.
But you don't get a lot of people leaving at 11 a.m., right? They just got there. So I think that's probably kind of part of why the line stayed the way it did, because the trickle of people coming out was probably a little bit slow at first.
Do you want to still do some Arizona shows and some outside shows? Or
yeah,
no
so
Arizona shows, some outside shows?
My current plan is to do the ARP show. I will not be doing the Mesa show for the foreseeable future. I'm not doing the Glendale show in September just because it conflicts with one of the California shows the very next weekend. I don't want to do shows on back-to-back weekends. That's no fun. But I'll probably still do that one in the future. We'll see. But I definitely will keep doing both Pomonas. I'll see how Anaheim goes this year. They moved it from July to September, which I think is a good thing. So we'll see how that goes. I'm excited about that one. And then I'd like to try and get out to Dallas for NARBC once or twice.
Mm-hmm.
So, and see how that goes. So
Dallas is in a weird spot, like emotionally, like the heart of the show.
yeah.
It's like, I'm not sure what it wants to be yet. It's forming still. We'll
Right.
find
Yeah,
out.
because it's gone through a lot of change over the last year or so.
Mm-hmm. And it seems like some national level shows, some national people obviously have been leaving progressively more and more as the show isn't the same.
Right.
But then will come and try it and then run away. And then you're like, oh, fuck. They could have been seduced in, but it wasn't enough. Right. But I don't know.
Yeah. And who knows? Maybe I'll journey up to Colorado for show up there. It's the same drive as Dallas. So
how many hours would it be?
14.
That's a lot.
It's a 1-day drive. It's fine.
I checked it for me to go to the Phoenix ARP, and it was like 14, and I was like, do I have the strength and honor to do a 14-hour drive? I'd probably do like 8 hours, 9 hours one day, and then the rest Friday morning, and then set up.
Yeah, if you do like 8 to 10 the first day, then your drive the second day is short, and you can get there and set up and still
not be
somewhat
sleepy.
alive.
Yeah,
somewhat alive.
That's
alive enough to go to the bar.
I ain't going to a bar. I'm sleeping. Gotta save all my energy to explain to somebody that a corn snake doesn't eat crickets.
Yeah, see, that's the great part about Pomona is like the hotel's right there on site in the Fairplex. So everybody stays at that hotel as long as you get a room before they book up. Everybody hangs out in the hotel bar, and so it doesn't matter how much you drink because you just
wander back upstairs,
crawl back up to your room, and you're fine. Doesn't even matter if you get to the right room; just get in a room.
Will count. Fine.
Yeah,
a little cubby. Do you feel like your ball python breeding journey is? I don't even know how to say this nicely. I don't know. It's probably not where you wanted it to be when you started.
Absolutely not.
But is it like satisfactory anyway? Because you learned many things and met friends along the way. I don't know.
The experience has been very much worthwhile. I've made like great lifelong friends and had a lot of fun doing it. As long as you don't look at how much you spent versus how much you've made, it's a great time, right? That being said, like I have gone through a couple different revisions of my projects and my goals and what I want to do, and I'm currently going through another one, and that's a massive downsize and refocusing. And whereas I had at any given moment 8 to 10 projects previously, I will have 2 now, and that's all I'm going to have is 2 projects. And I'm
can you resist the siren song of more projects though once you're down to 2 and then something?
Oh, 2, yes, I am so excited to be down to 2 because I can laser focus on those 2 projects and just do them and produce only the stuff that I truly want to produce. And that way I'll never be disappointed with the clutch. Because
will you need to do a local show if you're doing only, even if you have byproduct? Wouldn't it make more sense just to stick it online and not worry about it? Because you won't have as much production.
And that's kind of why I'm shifting focus to stuff like Pomona and NARBC and even the AARP shows, because they do attract a little bit more of that kind of like national branding, if you will. I don't know how you want to refer to that, but because I'm going to be making a limited amount of ball pythons. I'll be making hognose that are hopefully on the higher end and some other various species, but like I think, and for the most part, they're going to be stuff that's going to need the kind of audiences that you get in those venues. And focus a lot online,
Yeah, I mean, largely that audience is a plant lady. The majority of the people there are plant ladies.
Yeah, the ARP shows. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've heard from multiple accounts that it's a plant heavy show. So
Yeah, because I mean, the plant ladies like, I want to go to a plant show. I'll get on that Eventbrite and buy a ticket, and it seems like a fun thing to do. They aren't necessarily like buying a monsoon clown pod.
no, probably not. But if you can get them to buy some isopods, it's a gateway drug.
That's step one, right?
Yeah, it's a gateway drug.
I just like the vibes. That means a lot to me. A lot, actually. Like if people
it does to me too, and like I've never had anything but positive experiences with Troy. I've never talked to the Sloans, but like, it's all good people, and no disrespect to any other shows that I've done or whatever, because everybody's been great. Like all the promoters I've vended with have been great. But I'm really excited to try out that show, and so I'm giving it a shot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've never like had like a bad promoter either, but they're just like a vibe variation that it's very refreshing to me. And I think maybe it's like the extra oxygen from the plants. I don't know. It's very refreshing in terms of just like, this is a fun place to be.
Yeah.
And maybe not every location they have is like perfect or whatever, but it doesn't take much to get me pumped. That it's like a worthwhile promotional activity, even if I don't make any money. You know what I mean? It feels like that. Instead of like, please buy my banana.
Yeah, I honestly, I kind of just want to get to the point where I'm going to shows to enjoy the show and have a good time and not really sweat what animals I'm selling. And whatever sells, whatever doesn't. I just want to enjoy the show.
That's the power of the knickknacks, my brother.
Well, you'll have to show me the way of the knickknacks. I mean,
all right.
Yeah.
You want to be my Padawan?
Since you aren't going to come to Pomona, I can knick-knack Pomona. Although Pomona's got plenty of knickknacks, but
No, yeah. I mean, they can't all be the same knickknacks, otherwise the system doesn't work. But like, gosh, I mean, we talked about this earlier, but everybody just wants their little treat. Everybody will get a little treat. They paid $20 to get in, $15 to get in. They don't know why they're there, but to make it worth their door, they're like, I need to get that little treat for me. And sometimes it's a plant, and sometimes it's a little treat. Sometimes it's whatever. Jumping spider, orchid mantis.
I will never sell 3D prints. No respect to the people who do. No disrespect to it, but like, I can't, because I get butthurt every time I see somebody walking around with one instead of an animal.
I wish there were less 3D printed people. I don't mind them, but they have like
3D printed people.
Yes, they just have like prime real estate at many shows around here. Whole pods. They get, and so like the people who have snakes and need 3D printed to cover the snakes, that's fine. But there's people who that's all they do is they do 3D print. And some of them are in the lobby before you even come in the door, and the kids have already bought everything. They've spent all the money. They do the petting zoo.
Mom and dad allotted X amount of dollars, and they spend it before they even got through the front door.
Right, and they're not even like buying a little treat from a breeder, hypothetically, to support the breeder. It's all already gone, and they buy nothing inside of their door. That gives me the sad feelings the most.
So they just walk around the whole show asking if they can hold a snake.
Yeah. And then
getting fingerprints all over your displays.
So if that's the way, so I don't mind the craft verification of shows per se. Obviously, I'm in. But
yeah, you started drinking the Kool-Aid.
But I think the answer to that is I just need to go to less shows so that I don't have to cover the cost of the shows with stuff.
Have you ever thought about vending craft fairs and bringing snakes to craft fairs.
I have thought about it, like just one snake. Because if you were the only one there, let me just rephrase all that. If there was only 3 ball python breeders with like the correctly priced pet ball pythons at a show with 2,000 people, you would all sell out.
Mm-hmm.
Because people are like, fuck yeah, ball pythons.
Did you see the person over there has snakes? Whoa, so cool. Yeah.
I just don't know if people, like, a lot of times there's like a disconnect, like if you brought pet snakes to a farmer's market, people are like, I want to buy artisanal bread while drinking my latte. I don't want to look at a fucking snake. So there would have to be kind of craft fair that's like a little edgier or whatever. So
right,
maybe,
yeah.
Like a oddities fair or something. But
I'm not selling any of my animals so that somebody isn't out of these things because they're gonna put it. They're gonna just intentionally make it a wet specimen.
Well, maybe that's fine. It's not gonna breed. 3D printers even put them in the delis to add the illusion that they are buying a pet.
Yep.
Yeah, like if the reason, but that is why I've changed my mind. If the reason I'm there is to promote the future snakes I could sell, like here's my card, this is the species I work with, and it's just a YOLO fun, then I don't need to sell snakes, and so I need to do that the minimum number of times necessary to talk about my projects with my peers instead of like a non-ideal customer. But if I like half the time selling art, like I very intentionally didn't pick like normal stuff. I pay for actual human beings' arts, products, stickers, whatever that they draw of reptiles and amphibians and bugs, and so it's like different.
So it's not Temu stuff.
Yeah, no, it's like, so I'll probably still made in China, but it's like someone designed it, had it made in their art, and I pay them wholesale for it. So it's like bougier. I don't know.
Right. You have high-end knickknacks.
It's all the same difference, really. It's probably all going in the trash when they're done.
But like there's the car underneath the seat. They haven't seen it since the day of the show.
Oh God, I hope not. Cause they're almost all of them are like women or LGBTQ plus. Like that just happens on accident. Like everyone's like always crafting or something. And I just happened to pick the ones that liked weird little animals and bugs and shit. And I just sell their stuff and it's fine. There's a story. You can tell them the story of what the fuck's going on. But so I'm just like, I just need to do less shows so I don't have to do that as much. So I can tell the story of selling snakes online. Ooh.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Are you going to do Palm Streets?
No.
Why not?
I've had a couple of people be like, you should do Palm Street. It's great. No. Do
you think you can seduce them with your hands?
No. I like I've gone to a few of those auctions and like there's so few people in some of them, and like I've seen animals go for crazy stupid money, like crazy stupid low, not high, crazy stupid low. I have ways to do that if I want to. Like, I don't need to go to Palm Street to do it.
What if the only way I would do it right this second is if I basically just started them at whatever, almost retail, in my opinion, and I just was just sitting there talking about them. And if you want it, great. If you don't, we're just gonna run 12 this hour, and they're basically retail anyway. Problem is they charge sales tax to your customer,
right?
So your customer is like disincentivized to. They know that that's coming, and then you have like a fixed shipping price also that you have to like force. I don't know. Have you watched like Whatnot streams for other products?
Yeah. I've spent way too much time on Whatnot streams with cards.
What have you been buying?
Not lately, but I did my fair share of Pokemon buying on whatnot.
Like rips or like sudden
Yeah,
death
yeah.
slabs?
Rips. I don't do slabs. I like rips and breaks.
That's where all the Pokemon cards went, by the way.
It is.
Yeah. Whenever
people are buying just lots and lots of wholesale boxes, and they're all ripping them on streams, and all the Target employees are buying them from Target before Target opens. So, yeah.
So that sort of gamification of the auction is, I think we talked about this last time, sort of. It's what you would need to make Palm Street good. Let me air quote this. Like hot, where there's like 500 people and they're all like frothing at the mouth. And they're like, oh no, I got a bid and whatever. But I don't know how to do that with a living thing. It'd be easier with plants because you could do like, I don't know, like a mystery bundle of plants, and one of them happens to have a $500 fucking plant in it, and you can like, or maybe
I've seen Slither City. He's in the Mutation Creation Patreon. He does mystery bags for snakes, and he seems to do okay with them. And I'm like, I feel like I'd have pissed off people at my table. Like, I don't want this one. I want to try again. Like, that's not the idea here. The idea is you're stuck with what you get. Like, I want people to buy the animal they want. I don't want a mystery bag. Like, more power to anybody who can find a creative way to do it and then it works for them. I couldn't do
that. I tried it with corn snakes. I think I talked about this on the show. Nobody wanted them. They wanted the corn snakes separately. They didn't want to like guess which corn snake.
No, they just didn't want the corn snake.
That's probably true also. Xotics is selling snakes at anime conventions works well. I bet it would too. I thought about doing like a Comic-Con vending the slop to cover the like vendor booth cost. But usually they didn't have insurance that covered live animals. You know what I mean? Yeah. T's Geckos accidentally sold an Xanthic Lily White for $800 on Palm Street. Very cool. Palm Street will let the seller pay the taxes for the customer if you ask them. Or I don't want to. What about that idea?
We just don't pay taxes anymore. No more taxes.
Yeah, taxes are canceled. I don't know. Like, I don't know. I mean, we've obviously had auctions on here. I don't need a...
But the day is gone.
The idea of an auction is gone for me. Yeah. But if I wanted to like be live on here and live sell something to you, I feel like I could just do that. Like if I need to make the Palm Street start price so high that I don't get hurt, then I could just do that here.
You could just do that on Morph Market. You could.
But there's a lot of competition with auctions on Morph Market. Which is, I think, is the problem with the Morph Market currently.
One of many.
Yeah. Like the auctions on Morph Market currently have been scaring me more and more each day. How have you? And you used some. Did you like your final pricing recently?
I was drastically disappointed in some and okay with some others. I offered upsells to most people after they won just to add in extra stuff to their box at a discount, and that was fairly successful.
All right, good job.
You know, it moved animals, which was the goal. Did I make a lot doing it? No, but you know, it was most of the stuff that I put up was stuff that I'd already taken to 4 shows, like I talked about, that I didn't want to take to a 5th one. You know,
do you think were they on Morph Market retail the whole time they were at the shows?
No. So some of the stuff was stuff I had recently decided to cut, and other stuff was stuff that had been on Morph Market for a long time and just had gotten no bites.
Yeah.
So
sometimes I'm like, what would be the fair analysis or rubric for an animal to be like, yeah, it probably should go on auction because you don't know how to price it effectively at this time?
You can't use Morph Market as a price gauge anymore, realistically, because you don't know what anything sells at. You don't know what auctions end at. You don't know what offers are made. Just because people list a price on there, I would say 90% of the time that's not the price the animal sells for.
That the listing is for.
Right.
On a normal ad. Yes, probably correct.
Yeah.
But if it, if for me a snake goes to 4 shows over 6 months, and in at least 3 of those months it was on Morph Market at probably higher than the show price, but not like a ton higher, then I'm like, I have fucked up. I have genuinely fucked up the price.
Absolutely. Yep.
I don't know what it is. I think it's something, but I'm wrong.
It's somewhere way lower than I have it because I haven't even gotten an inquiry on it.
Yeah, and then you're like, but then I'm like, what if this is just like a fucking psychology thing? Because like no one is browsing. They're only watching auctions. They haven't even seen it, and it's your fault for not promoting it on Instagram more or making a YouTube video about it. And it would actually sell at that, and you're just being a negative Nancy. What about that?
So I think you can bypass that thought process because you can go into the Morph Market analysis and you can see how many times it's been how many impressions it's made versus how many clicks. So that's telling you this is how many times it's actually popped up on somebody's page. And this is how many times they've actually dug into it to see, hey, I'm interested in this. Those numbers are hugely different. And so really it's the clicks that matter. And if you're not getting the clicks.
Do you feel like you have a ratio that makes you feel good at this point? Have you gotten that far through thinking about it?
I don't pay enough attention to it, honestly. I've looked at it a couple times and I'll be like,
yeah, I've like run it, but then I'm like, because I think people that will never buy get impressions and click, like pet people, like you'll get a lot of impressions and clicks on like banana somethings.
Sure.
For just because people want to look at different kind of bananas, see which one they like the best or whatever, and they'll keep going through them. So I don't know if that's the best information necessarily, but then like the problem is if you've passed the like pet window for that animal, like it's gotten too big and you were mispriced because you thought it was whatever a baby breeder item, you do not get to go back and restart it. It almost becomes like not that good anymore to anybody.
Right.
And so like after a year or something, then everyone's like you thought it was $300. Wrong. It was supposed to be $150, but now it's too big to even be a pet person thing. And the ideal buyer of 1 year ago has moved on to something else because everything else has sort of fallen into the $150 price point much faster. I don't know how to deal with that part.
I don't either.
Because my old policy would be like, if I kind of wanted it, I would just keep it. But now I cannot keep infinity snakes. So like,
correct.
Because I used to be like,
and the old mentality of I'm going to leave it at this price for 6 months and see what happens and then adjust. You can't do that either because if you wait 6 months, you're decreasing that price by 60%.
Right. You'll end up having to auction it for 10% of the original price.
Right.
Because now it's old and outdated or whatever the next time. And this isn't true for all species, by the way.
No,
there's a lot of things where you're just supposed to sit quietly on it for a year and sell down the whole litter or clutch at the same price because they're all basically the same thing. But like different morphe ball pythons, people's perception of them changes throughout the first year they're born, and eventually, sometimes I'm just like, I fucked up, so it has to go be someone's pet before it becomes any bigger.
Right.
So $50, no hets. I'm not telling you what it's het for, you know.
I'll tell you, at the last show, almost everything I sold was a sub 100 male.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't have
believe
been
you.
happier. I could not have been happier. I was like, thank God, get these things out of here. Like, they've long since eaten their value 3 times over, right? I mean, like, so.
Yeah. Jason says, he thinks house snakes have been doing pretty good on Palm Street, and things tend to fall apart with prices over the impulse range, though. And corns might do well. Yeah, I feel like if I was like, I just need to get rid of 10 baby corn snakes, start the bidding at $40 or $50, and it goes up to $56, I would probably be pretty happy, honestly. Whatever. Especially like the hard part about the auctions that we were doing is that it's too much selling to the same people. Like poor Will,
Correct.
blessed Will.
Will is still trying to figure out everything he bought.
he's drowning in a sea of baby pied ball python lots. And it's that would have been fine, but I was not able to acquire new customers.
It was
enough.
the same people attending every auction, and eventually you saturate that audience.
Yeah. So like, if we do it again, it would just be for chuckle, fucks, and fun, a couple times a year or something.
Right.
But
I think the auction market is.
Yeah, they already blew their whole load all over Morph Market auctions.
Yeah. There's no.
What's up, Jake?
It would only further tank things.
Yeah, I don't need to, and I think it's fine. But I don't know. I go back and forth with all of that a lot, and I think part of the sort of pricing problem is why, I don't know, things that you're like, God, that should be $2,000, and mysteriously show up on auction and go for $300. It's because the person who possesses it just kind of wanted $1,000. They would have taken $1,000. They just couldn't get anybody to inquire on it. And they didn't feel like they had the permission to drop it down to $1,500 to get like $1,000 inquiry. So they throw it on auction hoping they can get close to $1,000. And then it hits $300-$400 or something.
You're lucky. Yeah.
And then like, you're like, fuck, dude. Whoopsie.
Yeah, that hurts. Oops.
Right. I think that's what they think they're doing. But I think people need to be more comfortable like putting a higher start price and just using it as promotion. Just lose your auction. Use it as promotion. Start it at like the minimum you would need it to be to not want to die.
I'm not sure it really works as promotion because people just want to see prices under $100 on those things. Like, so they'll bid. And if you're lucky at the end of your auction, you get 2 people who are actually somewhat interested, and they'll drive the price up a little bit.
That's the dream.
That is the dream, but it seems to work far better with other species than ball pythons because I've been in plenty of bidding wars on hognose. The hog auctions go great for the sellers. Like,
yeah,
not all the time, but a lot of the time.
It helps that hognose people are like not blasting it with auctions. There will be like 5 to 10 at any one time, maybe 15 or something.
There's more than that now, but there's a couple pages. But yeah,
are you serious?
Yeah.
Idiots.
Yeah,
like they used to be really good about it. Like,
and they're like 70% males.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah. The Purple Church, like every time I go to Pomona, I get people asking about MBKs. Like, I think it's a Cali thing. They love the black snakes. They just want black snakes.
Yeah, they're ghetto-licious. 35 snakes isn't that bad, though.
No, that's not too bad.
35 snakes that someone could maybe pay attention to and consider. The ball python one's usually 300.
And there's like 3 different people on there that always have like a handful of auctions running. Always. So like half of those are from people.
Well, Wes, every time I've seen Wes's, they don't end that bad.
Wes had one the other day. I'm not going to give the exact amounts because I don't want to divulge his information, but like it was for a female snow and it was at a few $100 with 5 minutes left. 5 minutes left. And I messaged him like, 305 for a female snow. That's a little rough. He's like, just wait. It's time for the 5-minute magic.
Oh, that's
And this thing, let's just say it essentially doubled in price.
That's awesome. Well, that should be Wes's stripper name. 5 Minute Magic. Because that's awesome. Yeah, I just feel like there are like more attentive people and not so many hognoses there.
Yeah.
To compete. Some stuff does get cheap enough, like if it's not too flashy and fun or whatever.
Right.
Like aesthetically looking, but I don't know. We'll see. What do we got here?
I answered that one.
A lot of MBKs. Too many peens in the auctions lately on the ball python side. Starting to feel like people dumping excess males. Yes. Of course.
Absolutely.
And for non-PPs, if you can drive followers to the auction, you can do pretty good. Sambos go above originally listed price.
I've seen hogs do that too, to go for over what they were originally listed for. And I'm like, well, this is what you guys get for not looking at the actual listings.
Yes, I think it's fine. I just, I don't know. So as a ball python person, seller, I sell a lot of cheap ball pythons at shows because that's what they want. Those people want. But then I'm like, do you want a ball python for $200 to $300? And they're like, We're back.
Oh yeah, you froze there for a second. Girl.
I'm back though. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I was watching the male Swiss that went for $2,250. I didn't see the other one.
Did you want to buy it? Do you think Swiss chocolate is different enough from Sable?
So I want some Swiss. I have the plans, but I like Sable better.
Mm-hmm.
I need storm clouds in my life. That's what I need. Those things are ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
They're so pretty.
They're very cool. I've seen them in person. Have you seen one in person?
Yep. Yeah, Wes brought one. Wes literally, he's produced one.
I want that.
He brought one to the Mesa show just to taunt me.
Sorry, children again. Why do I have children?
Mm-hmm.
I only have one.
Well, do you want to explain to you how that works?
I wasn't there. I closed my eyes and thought of England. I was watching a Het T positive Argentine bow the other day on auction and it was winding down at 300. It went up to 450 during the 5 minute magic. Yeah, if it's actually a really good lot, people will be there and fight for it in the end.
Mm-hmm.
And it's at the right time of day. Yeah. What do we do about that, though? I guess we can't do anything. Which I think when I was cut off, like that middle price point, I'm always like, maybe I'm wrong. And if I think it's 300, I'm wrong. It's just if I think it's 300, it's really 100.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And if I think it's 100, it's really 50.
Do you remember the days when like you would list a ball python and you would instantly get an inquiry on it and it would sell and you're like, I listed that too low. Right? Do you remember those days? I haven't had that happen in so long.
Right, but I think at some point you have to stop doubting the snake and believe in it again. When do you do that?
You know,
I think you do. You have to just be like, "Fuck you, people!
I'm
it's $300."
I'm a Cowboys fan. I have enough disappointment in my life.
But you can't do that at a show because you're like stuck with this like fixed cost and you like need to cover it. So like you're over a couple barrels at that point. You have an animal, you don't know how much it should be, and you have the fixed cost of the show. What do you think about that?
I think I quit worrying about cost a while ago.
Oh, for shows?
For all of it.
Don't you like want the business to be profitable technically.
Absolutely. It's the dream. That's the dream.
Do you take the losses from your W-2 income, or did you have it separated in your state?
Oh no, it's absolutely a write-off.
Okay.
And against my W-2 income. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, that's a nice...
Oh yeah. Oh,
it's the only way it really makes any sense, because otherwise you're like,
yeah.
fuck, this is stupid.
Yeah. The only way I'm profitable is in my losses.
Yeah. But one day the IRS will come a calling and want to be like, how many years of losses can one person take? This is a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're no, I don't know, WeWork or something, Uber, where you just like take losses continuously to gain market share, and then all of a sudden you're at scale.
You just pick. You wait till like year 5, and you take a year, and you don't list any expenses.
Right, but I'm on year.
You have to be in the black. 1 year, and then the timer resets. Or you could actually get profitable. That'd be great.
That would be the better option. What do you think about that?
It is. It would be a much better option. Not sure how to do it in the same sentence as ball pythons.
Yeah. I do believe, and I know this is controversial, but fuck it.
Uh-oh.
Like, the longer you're in, and this is partially like, you could argue it's sunk cost fallacy or whatever, but the longer you're in, the more incentive you have to stay in, because the cost basis of each additional baby born is $40 or whatever. So as long as the collection size isn't so big and out of control, and your carrying costs aren't that big, there's no real reason to just be like, fuck it, I hate all my ball pythons, you all suck. They don't suck. You're supposed to be having fun for a while and sort of breaking even, and then eventually you'll hit something good, have a good year, the market will be a little stronger, and you probably will have profitable years.
Yeah. People who are more established and have more seasons on their belt are far more equipped to weather the storm, right? I mean, it's just, I think that's kind of basic logic, but I think the way this market has been going, and not even factoring in the global economy, but like just the reptile industry in general, especially ball pythons, like it's challenging like every level of breeder. It's just a matter of who's sticking with it. I'm not giving up on it. I'm just retailoring my projects to make more sense for me.
Right, because you got out in 2011 the first time?
2012.
12?
Yeah.
So, like, hypothetically, if you hadn't gotten all the way out, but maybe it kept, whatever, a couple of breeding pairs, you would have been more ready for whatever and having fun.
Absolutely.
And participating all along.
Yep. Been a whole different ballgame.
I think the problem comes is when like you get too much scale and the animal work is too much, and it becomes tedious because you're like, if you're not making millions of dollars, which you never were going to anyway, but you're definitely not now, and there's animal workload and there's expenses for the animals, so you have to take a loss every year to keep the animals alive. It's just too much. So that's why if you're like a controlled amount of projects, at that point
you're paying to have a second job, right? Like
that's poor marketing. I'm calling it. That is correct though. 139. You are 100% paying to have a second job. Because there's a lot of other things you could sell or whatever that are way less labor intensive and have way less overhead. Like you could be like, I'm gonna make fucking kettle corn or something. I looked it up. A little kettle corn machine's like $2,000. Haul it in a trailer.
I could go lose my ass with trading cards, right? At least I don't have to feed them and clean them.
Right, or you could make it rich. You could hit that bubble mute.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I've discovered that hobbies are a hobby for most people for a reason.
Yeah, I guess it is cool though, and it's still true. Like, I don't know if you ever watched the Xotics getting out video. Did you ever watch that?
Mm-mm.
He's a crescent gecko guy, but
Okay.
he still explained like in a coherent way why he wanted to get out of crescent geckos. Because he's
Right.
like, it's a fucking great hobby that pays for itself a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And it sometimes can be profitable, and then sometimes it's take a loss. But there are very few hobbies that pay for themselves. So but he's like, I need more time to have a small business that is scalable to like a full-time income.
Right.
And I don't think this thing here will ever scale in my situation
That's
to a
fair.
full-time income.
Yeah, that's
And
fair.
I was like, yeah, sounds fucking absolutely correct.
100%. Yeah, yeah.
Like the labor of caring for the animals definitely pays for the animals. Even at these like shows that are really not that good,
Mm-hmm.
they're fine. You'll sell lots of little
Exactly.
$100
Yeah.
byproduct animals.
Right. And like my thing is like, and that's I'm shifting all of my targets to where I'm truly just enjoying what I'm doing, right? So it's a manageable number of animals for each species. It's the species I truly enjoy. It's the projects I really enjoy. And it's so that when I go to a show, I'm there to show off my stuff and talk to people and meet people and hang out with other breeders and do that kind of stuff and rub elbows with people I don't know and whatever. Like, and if that's your goal, you can't lose.
Exactly.
And so that's the target. You know, it's not getting rich. It's not whatever. It's just enjoying it.
That was pretty positive of you.
I know. Well, I got to make up for the previous thing. There's plenty more negative shit. We can get there.
Christina says, Lisa Land Ball Pythons posted yesterday are out, and Mutation Station hasn't posted since July of 23. Yeah, a lot of people are getting out currently, and I don't know. I don't begrudge.
We went through
anybody,
a wave of
really.
people getting out like a year ago, right? And I think we're in another wave of it because there's been a lot of it recently.
Which is funny because spring is like the hot season, so you think they would get out in the fall, like when you have like too many babies and it's a lot of pressure.
Yep.
That's when you would decide to like cut it off. But maybe they like already decided that last fall, and this is just them like finishing up. What do you think about that? What's the best time of year to get out?
Yeah, I don't know. Haven't done it. Couldn't tell you.
We did.
Well, I did, but I liquidated all to one person, so that was way back in the day. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's really hard though. Like my building is expensive to maintain.
And mine both, yeah.
So if I like wanted to go down to a lower number of animals, I would still have the same sort of overall carrying
You
cost.
still have the same overhead.
Right.
So it's not, and that's kind of where I'm at. Like my overhead is not going to change. So it's not a matter of I can just simply produce less, because that's not really a thing. I'm shifting what I'm producing. I'm refocusing what I'm producing to try to cover costs with an effort that's more enjoyable, that's more fun, that's really accomplishing what I want to accomplish. And like I think that's the sweet spot, is because you're right, like your overhead's not going to change as long as that situation doesn't change.
Right. So I would have to sell down so many animals, like I could bring everything into like my house and not.
At which point you still have the building back there.
Well, I'd have to just like not heat or cool it, because that's like a large part of it.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like I want to do that. Like have so few animals, and they're just a bunch of pets. I just want the thing.
If I have less animals, that means I have to spend more time talking to people, and that doesn't make me happy.
Yikes. I just want to do less shows, even though they're like largely fine, because I think they've taken things from me that I'm not gonna get back, like spiritually or emotionally,
or years from your life.
God, you say that in jest, but I'm pretty sure, you know.
How many shows do you do?
Last year, I think I did like, I don't know, 15, 18, something like that.
No, absolutely not.
It was not good in every
Scared me.
definition of not being good. Not because any show was bad, but like the leaving for 3 days, come back. The next week and leave for 4 days, come back. Collection goes to shit. You're like struggling to catch up, and you have rats to feed and take care of, and they smell worse. They got to be cleaned first, and you're hunting down dry water bowls because you have, and you're like, what happened? It's not good. I'm not doing that this year. No, thank you. So, but also like it was an insane amount of work, and I didn't make that much more money. So
right.
Because it costs a lot of money to do that, to go from show to show. Oh, Dignity. I wish I had that. That'd be pretty cool.
I've heard about that before.
I don't think I had that to begin with. Christina says, a lot of hognose breeders go out over the last year. It's been weird to be around long enough to see so many go. Yeah. I think people just get out because they just don't want the animal care burden. It's a lot. It does, even if they're good at sales, it's still a lot. So that's fine. Jake got paid last year for a community education event more than he got paid for some of our animals. Maybe another side of how the hobby can pay for itself. Yeah, for sure. The people who have like, they got one turtle, one tegu, one bearded dragon, one red-eared slider, a ball python, and a whatever, something, a berm, albino berm. You're set. You could probably make a full-time income without selling a single snake. Just do birthday parties. Straight up birthday parties. What do we miss? Anything? What are your projects? You didn't ever tell them.
So variations, doubles and triples within Puzzle and Monsoon. So that's not together Puzzle and Monsoon because I'm not sure that's going to work. But Puzzle, doubles and triples, and Monsoon, doubles and triples.
Well, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Side project. And what species do you think will fit into the program that aren't ball python species?
Hognose, false water cobras, BCAs. I really like my Amaralis. What else? I've got some children's pythons that I really like. And I'm doing some beardy breeding for the first time. That's an adventure. I'm not sure it was a smart idea, but I'm doing it. And then I have some jeweled lacerdas. And I'm picking up, as soon as it's ready, I'm picking up a new Amazon milk frog project. So that'll be fun.
Lisa says birthday parties sound awful unless it's a birthday party for a 49-year-old woman. I'll pass. I think it depends on the personality of the person doing it. But like in terms of like what are your costs? Gas and like the care for those limited number of animals. And liability insurance. Hopefully, you know. Well, that all sounds fun to me. You know, I've been telling people all along they should have like a diverse collection and ball pythons for fun. What do you think about that?
I think keeping what you like makes it fun. And I forgot the roly-polies and the roaches.
Oh,
I have
shit.
7 different species of roaches and some roly-polies. So.
Do you think isopods can cross state lines legally without like the USDA being involved technically? What do you think about that?
They're an animal, so
like a lot of them, you would need a permit for the USDA to actually mail them, like ship them.
Right.
But then I'm like, you know, you go to a show or whatever, you technically cross a state line some of the time, and then I've never seen anybody display a permit at a show for isopods.
Not once for isopods. Never.
And most of the people that vend isopods in OKC at that show me show come from Arkansas. You know, I don't know. Well, Wally's got a video apparently, but you needed to like cross state lines. That's what I want to know, because I feel like USDA.
I mean, you were able to until recently. You were able to buy isopods off of eBay. I don't think all those people were.
That doesn't sound legal to me either. I guess it doesn't matter, but whatever. Yeah, I don't have any dignity. Oh, at reptile birthday parties? I don't know. It's just... You can do isopods on eBay again?
Oh, did they bring live animals back?
Yeah, there's definitely fish on there now again.
Well, so they took it off in like March, I want to say. I don't know if they brought it back or what, but it was impacting the fish and the bugs and all that stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. What's hard is like there's guppies and stuff on there now because I was looking at them. Whoopsie. You want a guppy or a beta? They're back.
Oh, fish never left. Okay.
They are back. Then fish never left? I thought they were going to leave.
Okay, we've got conflicting reports in the chat.
Oh, no.
Either way, wait, are those lures or are those actual fish? Why do they just have
Where, here?
Yeah.
Yeah, these are all fish. I'm just like into guppies for some reason.
The ones that are in the people's hand, why are they holding the fish?
It's tactile experience. You pick your fish by, just give it the old 1-2.
Right.
I don't know. Like every time I see like Neocaridina shrimp, I'm like, I fucking want that so bad. I want to kind of squeeze them, play with them too. So maybe you squeeze a guppy. What kind of isopods do you have?
I have like 9 different species. I've got the basic powder blues, powder oranges. I've got great whites. I've got
sharks.
They're little tiny mini isopods, but I don't know. I've got dwarf whites. I've got orange lavis. I've got blonde duckies. And a couple other ones.
Yeah, I started like some isopod colonies in 21 or I don't know, a long time ago. I just found them to be like whatever. Well, they didn't sell that good, and lots of other people were selling them, and then they didn't breed that good. And if you don't clean the colony, you're like, oh, they eat fucking fungus. Wrong. You have to actually take them all out, change the substrate, give them new calcium because they don't like the old calcium or something. So they'll crash in 6 months anyway, mysteriously. So I bought like Magic Potion and the ones that look like kidney beans and zebras, stuff like that. And I was like, you guys actually aren't that fun, are you? And they would like stroll their way out of all my bioactive builds and just walk around. I'm like, that's $1 walking around over there.
Great. Yeah.
Listen, they are cute though, but not for me.
I heard the cat too.
Yeah, the cat is very upset that I have closed the door, and I think that's our call to end it. All right, how long were we positive for?
Oh, an hour and 29 minutes or something, 39 minutes.
This is a world record.
It especially for us. Like,
so I think we deserve a prize of some kind. I don't know what the kind of prize is.
I will send you a ball python.
No.
It'll be the best ball python.
Oh, God. I need a hypo clown male. Of some kind.
I have
not het pied and not het desert ghost. So useless genes anyway.
Pastel hypoclown het DG male that'll be up for sale here soon.
You're killing me. That's all I need. No, I don't know. I think people want to live in a world where they are told all the recipes for success, and they're if you tell it to them so confidently, they will believe in you because they told it to you so confidently.
Mm-hmm.
And
I'll be right back. I got an Amazon package.
Oh shit! Is there a cat? I want to see the cat. It's the black demon. I think he went away. Eric has a hypo headclown male. That is like a $30 snake. Why does he even have it? Oh god. It's not $30. It's worth.
No, I do not have the hypohet clown male. I sold that thing after you and West bamboozled. So this is Randy sold a snake to Wes. They both came to see me on occasion, so Randy decided to drop the snake off with me so that Wes could pick it up. I come to find out, Wes thought it was a hypo clown visual.
Okay.
It wasn't. It was a hypo het clown male. So Wes like, I don't want it. So Randy refunded him. Randy never came and got the snake.
So
Randy didn't want the snake. Wes didn't want the snake. They canceled their deal, and I got stuck with a snake.
Whoa, that sounds dirtier than possible.
And every time I took it to a show, I'm like, "Hey, look, Randy, it's your snake."
Randy. Yeah. Did he ever sell?
He finally sold, yeah.
Good job.
Yeah.
For $50?
Something like that.
Yeah. I know. I don't even say that dollar amount in jest, because I think a lot of people are very sensitive to the fact that is too cheap for a ball python. Brothers and sisters in Christ, I think that's where we are right now. So.
I think so too. Yeah. No, unless it's like really top tier, has some high demand genetics. It's just.
Yeah, that's right. Or if there are any of the variants that just kind of look generally brown, kind of brownish of different kinds, they are 100% in the like $50 to $100 range, depending on how like much disposable income's floating around.
Yep.
But really more like 50. Almost doesn't matter what's going on otherwise. Yep. I don't know, and I think that hurts people's feelings. God, but it's okay. You know? All right. Where can people find you if they want to talk to you about isopods? Or
nope, there. At Blackjack.Reptiles on Instagram, on Facebook, on Morph Market, www.blackjackreptiles.com, OnlyFans /Blackjack Reptiles. No, I'm just kidding.
Could be.
That's right. That Randy has an OnlyFans. I do not.
What's this? OnlyFans.
It's like, let's get Randy.
Wes, this is 5 minutes of magic. Let's get Randy. I love it. You'll have to think of a good one to match the vibes.
Yeah. That's the thing. That's the new platform to sell snakes on.
OnlyFans.
Yeah.
I believe you. Because sometimes I'm like, the problem isn't the number of ball pythons, it's the like ability to access the people who might hypothetically want one. Like we have like really poor communication with humans, because I've seen people come up to me like, I would pay $200 for that, and I'm like, you would? Like, okay, but like they're not in it, they're not around, they're just
right.
Hold on, I have a kid again.
Elazar, were you satisfied with your purchase that you made for Randy?
Close the door. If Feet pics with Randy. Oh. All right. I think we've gone on long enough now that we're talking about feet pics. All right, let's say goodbye to everybody.
and parts of the
Goodbye.
live
Hopefully
chat,
nobody's too depressed. I think the point is to like don't if you want to get rid of your ball pythons, do it. But you don't have to.
No.
You could keep the
do
ones
what
you're
makes
really
you
interested
happy.
in and work on that. And don't overdo it so that because it's a lot of them will be $50. Let's be clear.
Absolutely.
All right, goodbye. See you later.
Bye.
Merry Christmas.